Okay, so what if I told you that you have a superpower? One you use every single second of the day, probably without even thinking about it. It's this wild ability to just look at someone and get a pretty good idea of what's going on inside their head. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how this social superpower of yours actually works. Just picture this scene for a second. You don't just see the actions, right? Your brain instantly starts writing a story. Oh, they got some good news. Wait, nope, now it's bad news. Maybe it was a hopeful text and then a really disappointing follow-up. In that split second, you've assigned beliefs, desires, and a whole emotional roller coaster to a total stranger. This is so much more than just watching someone. Your brain is doing some seriously heavy-duty social math. Which, of course, brings up a massive question. How on earth do we do that? How do we navigate this world that's just full of other minds we can never actually see or touch? Well, it turns out the answer lies in this amazing cognitive tool. And yeah, scientists have a name for it. And that ability, it's called theory of mind. Think of it like the engine that drives pretty much all of our social interactions. I mean, from a simple chat to a high-stakes negotiation, it's all powered by this. It really is our social superpower.
All right, so let's get into the official definition. At its core, theory of mind is the ability to get that other people have their own totally unique inner worlds. You know, their own thoughts, feelings, their own goals. And here's the really critical piece. It's understanding that their inner world isn't a perfect snapshot of reality, and it's definitely not the same as your inner world. Seriously, without this, things like empathy, real communication, even just basic teamwork, they'd all be pretty much impossible.
So let's break that down even further into two big ideas. First, it's about realizing that someone can believe something that's just plain wrong, what we call a false belief. And second, it's understanding that people's actions are driven by what they think and what they want, their intentions, not just by what's actually happening in the world around them. Okay, but how does our brain pull this off? Well, there are two main competing ideas about this. On one hand, you've got theory. This basically says we're all like little scientists, always collecting data from people's actions and building these mini theories about how their minds work. Then on the other hand, there's simulation theory. This one's a bit different. It suggests we just use our own mind as a test run. We kind of put ourselves in their shoes and ask, okay, what would I be thinking if that were me? Now, in reality, our brains are probably way more clever than that and use a mix of both. And get this isn't just some abstract idea. It's actually happening physically inside your brain. Neuroscientists have mapped out what they call the social brain network. It's like a team of different brain regions all working together. You've got the TPJ, that's the specialist for figuring out what other people believe. Then there's the MPFC, kind of like the team captain, thinking about mental states in general. And the STS, that's the scout, the one reading all the social clues from faces and body language. The amazing part is how they all work together in this perfect, coordinated dance to give us our social smarts. But here's the thing. This incredible skill isn't something we just pop out of the womb with. Nope, it's built piece by piece, starting from the very beginning. So let's take a look at how that journey unfolds. I mean, the foundation for all this is laid super early. Right from birth, we're hardwired to stare at faces. But then, around 9 months, something huge happens. Joint attention. You know that moment when a baby can actually follow your gaze or your pointing finger, and suddenly you're both looking at the same thing, a toy, a plane in the sky. They're starting to understand that you intend to share that moment with them. It's amazing. By 18 months, they're even figuring out people's goals. But the real game changer, that happens around age 4 or 5. And the best way to see this breakthrough in action is with the classic Sally-Ann test. It's a really simple little story. So Sally has a toy, she puts it in her basket, and then she leaves the room. While she's gone, Ann comes along and moves the toy into a box. Okay, so Sally comes back. The million-dollar question is, where is Sally going to look for her toy? Now, a 3-year-old knows the toy is in the box, so they'll almost always point to the box. They can't make that leap yet. They can't separate what they know from what Sally knows. But then, somewhere around age 4 or 5, a little switch flips in their brain. The child will say, oh, Sally's going to look in the basket. Why? Because that's where Sally thinks it is. And that is the whole point. Passing this test isn't about getting the location right. It's proof that you can hold someone else's perspective in your head, even when you know that perspective is wrong. It's the moment you realize that their mental map of the world can be totally different from the real world. I mean, that is a huge cognitive leap. You know, one of the best ways to figure out how any system works is to look at what happens when it develops differently. It's kind of like looking under the hood of a car, only when it's making a funny noise. These cases give us this incredible window into all the moving parts of our social mind.
So let's look at two different perspectives here. With autism spectrum disorder, one of the challenges can be with that spontaneous, intuitive mind reading. It might not be as automatic. And that really highlights just how much the rest of us rely on that system running effortlessly in the background. Then, on the other hand, with some symptoms of schizophrenia, you can see distortions where the system might be overactive or kind of misfiring, like seeing harmful intentions that aren't actually there. By looking at how this system can be different, it really helps us map out all the intricate ways it's supposed to work.
All right, so we've just taken a whirlwind tour through the science of understanding other minds. We've talked about what theory of mind is, how it develops from when we're tiny, and what we learn when it works a little differently. So let's wrap this all up and hit the key takeaways. Okay, 4 main things to lock in. Number 1, social understanding isn't a one-and-done thing. It's not a switch that just flips at age 5. It's a skill we're constantly honing our entire lives. Number 2, our social brain is a mix of nature and nurture. The biology we're born with gets shaped by all of our social experiences. 3, understanding diverse minds is for everyone. It helps us see the full picture of how social cognition works. And finally, number 4, theory of mind isn't something you do in a vacuum. It really only comes alive in the middle of an actual interaction with another person.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought. The very next time you're talking with someone, just pause for a second. And think about the incredible, invisible gymnastics your brain is doing, constantly guessing, simulating, and building theories about the mind of the person right in front of you. Now that you know a little bit more about what's going on under the hood, how might that change the way you see that conversation?